Hello, it's me, your trusty writing live stream provider and very professional maker of words. Hello. Yeah, I know. So since this live stream traditionally contains some talk about the lighting, which is bad, let me mention that today the lighting is bad, as obvious by that there behind. Yeah, basically, yeah, right. The light. So that's what you get for tuning in to my writing live stream. But otherwise, if you just try to ignore this little part of your window, it's a really small part. I don't think it's even an eighth of your monitor, so you should be able to just ignore it. Come on. The important thing goes on. Oh, yeah, there you go. The important thing goes on there. I don't know. Maybe you have something important right there, but my important stuff is here, and that's our story. And that's the complicated part of this live stream. But let's begin at the beginning. This is an interactive writing live stream for everyone who's here for the first time, which is probably no one. But in case you're there, we write this story. It's somewhere around here. We write this story there together. Which means I do all the work and you get to do whatever you like. You can just watch me and laugh at me. You can be angry at me if you like. You don't have to laugh. You also have the opportunity to tell me what to do or ask me questions. You can ask me why I do certain things. You can tell me to do them differently. You can tell me to provide better lighting, better sound. No promises of actually doing that, but I can try, maybe. You can ask for basically anything and you can tell me to do anything, and most of these things I will probably do within reason. And so far that has been a lot of fun. Yeah, so I look forward to today's writing live stream, which will be, yeah, well, we find ourselves again in a kind of complicated situation. Or maybe I should say the story as well as the link to a Discord where you can interact with me, because we have decided to shut down the YouTube chat because that proved too complicated, too difficult to moderate, because there were certain hostile elements in there. And Discord is easier for me to keep a lid on. So you can find that stuff down there. But if you don't want to interact with me, if you don't want to chat, that's no problem at all. You can just watch on YouTube. And you can even write a comment afterwards if you like. Or you can write me an email. You can send me an SMS. You can send me messages about via basically any messenger that exists in the world. And of course, you can not if you prefer not to. Now, back to our story. The story is, well, we have set ourselves the modest task of finding a way to make a better world. Now, the good news is, in our hypothetical situation, we have rather supernatural powers, kind of magic, as you might have suspected by the name of the story. The bad news is we have no plan. And, well, as you might be able to glean from what's going on in the world right now, raw power is no substitute for a good plan to make a good society. Still, maybe we can still do something. So we thought we'd start with something easy, a better health system. That should be. I think we have 55 minutes left now, so I think you can already start thinking about what we'll tackle next time. For today, let's get back into the story. I shall read you the last things that happened. I can, unfortunately, not provide you with a complete summary of the story, but I will, for everyone who has been here last time, read the last few paragraphs. And as I mentioned, if you like, you can read the whole story in the link below this video. Maybe I need to update it because I do not trust OneDrive. There's a OneDrive link down there. That's not the actual document I'm working in, so I have to manually upload it every time. That might be a bit shorter than what we have here. If you're interested and I forget, feel free to let me know. As I said, you can contact me in many ways. So, what happened? Lara Kaczmierz crossed her arms and gave a little huff. Would, if you actually decide to waste your time with these clowns, you can do that, but don't expect me to be a part of this farce. I would join you, said the receptionist with a cheeky smile. I don't want to miss out on the rest of this. Woodgobbler sighed and shrugged, slightly embarrassed. Well, to be honest, she said, at this point, neither do I. You have 10 minutes and I won't offer you coffee. That's fine, Sam replied in a cheery, breezy tone of voice that nullified the potential insult. It would have been bad anyway. You can say that again, Lara Kaczmierz mumbled while turning away and leaving them. Woodgobbler did offer them coffee after all, maybe because she'd forgotten by the time they'd reached her office, maybe because she was just too polite to follow through on her threat. Sam, in turn, was polite enough to not repeat their assessment of the care facility's refreshments, but just said, thank you, I'm already very enthusiastic about this. Munira asked for hot chocolate because she did not feel this was the kind of situation where she could reasonably ask for a Twix. So what's gonna happen next? I think it's exposition. And also, sooner or later, I will need to refill my glass because, believe it or not, I almost forgot you today. I was already on my way out to the beach. And on my way out to the beach. And then I remembered that I have a live stream coming up. So I didn't prepare a lot. So I have an empty glass right here. So I will, within a few minutes, need to go and fetch some water. But I won't do that right now. Let's get started with a bit of writing. Yeah, I think the first few sentences will be quite easy because we just need a bit of exposition. So let's go with, let me at least switch on my speech recognition in case I want to use it. Not sure if I will, but I want to have it ready in case I do. Microphone, does the microphone, I need to know, I don't need to switch the microphone, I need to switch the profile, because while you get free voice recognition on any modern mobile phone, you can switch between languages with just the touch of a button. If you spend a huge amount of money for a commercial speech recognition software that's for professional use, you need to close your user profile and open another one to switch languages, of course. Let me see. Open user profile, English, open. All right. And that's it. That's not it, because also if you buy a hugely expensive professional voice recognition software, you also get an error message when trying to close your profile in roughly 50% of cases. So let me try that again. There you go. This time it should work, statistically speaking. Oh, by the way, hi everyone. I forgot to react to your messages in the chat, and I'm very happy you're there and that you're interacting because, well, the live stream would still be interactive, I guess, if nobody interacted, but it would be too hypothetical for my taste. Reasonably ask for a Twix. You could ask for a Twitch if you wanted to interact and tell me that you don't like YouTube. This would definitely be the kind of situation where you could do that reasonably. But this is not what this is about. Who is this? This is Rutgabler, right? Yeah, I get them mixed up. Rutgabler. Broad. Now, I really am not sure what I was thinking when I wrote this part. I think they mean they won't take the coffee, right? I think they mean they don't want anything. So Rutgabler brought the hot chocolate. Or maybe brought the chocolate. Still not completely used to my new keyboard, but brought the chocolate, which was still too hot. This is why I didn't call it hot chocolate at the beginning of the sentence. So there, you can already, there's something you can learn from me. If you're going to say that the chocolate is too hot, don't call it hot chocolate within the same sentence, because that will sound awkward. There you go. Free lesson. Completely free of charge. Remember that when you're considering liking this video or subscribing to my channel later on, okay? Which was still too hot for her to try, but smelled and looked like the kind of hot chocolate you would get from a cheap automaton. I think that's what you would call it in English. Or just automat. That's also a word that exists, right? I'm never sure how to do that in English. Machine? Would you just say vending machine, maybe? Maybe you would say vending machine, right? I'm gonna check that, because you know you probably you won't have noticed this. So let me let you in on a secret. I'm German, and yeah, this is not my first language. Vending machine is what Epiphany says, right? I'm gonna trust you, Epiphany. Thank you. Cheap vending machine. You would get from a cheap vending machine and regret after drinking it, because it was all sugar and no taste. Now, I like sugar, just let me say that for the record, but I don't usually like hot chocolate. So there you go. Was all sugar and no taste. Then Gabler sat down behind her desk, which was surprisingly worn and covered with paper and stuff. Munira had kind of expected a more luxurious atmosphere for the manager of a big facility, or maybe commercial, maybe is a word that helps clarify what she was thinking of. This looked rather like, and now we need to go back, because of course I don't remember what her principal was called. Sorry for that, I'll just jump. But Koviak is the teacher, but we will have Jesper? No, that wasn't it. Jespersen, there you go. Like Mrs. Jespersen's office, who, for everyone who wasn't there for the beginning, is the principal of Munira's school office. So, has Sam already introduced themselves? Have they said a name? Also, this is another one of these situations. I don't think does Rutgabler know Sam's name? My name is Sam. There you go. Yeah. Now this is something you English-speaking people might not. Well, you probably know, but you might not be aware of it at all times. In Germany, it's getting better. but still it's quite unusual in these kind of circumstances to speak to each other on a first name basis from the beginning on. You would usually call each other Miss Gabler, and there we go. So in an average realistic setup, this would be a situation where Ruth Gabler would probably say something like, so what was your name again? Or something. One might even think of, because that let's be honest here, that would realistically probably happen, and I don't want to reproduce it, but then again, I don't want to make it seem better than it is. She might even misgender Sam. Is the sound a little low? I'm asked. Maybe I can change that. How about this? Is this better? Also, I would, if you don't mind now, this kind of thing always has the ring of admonishment, but it's not meant as one. But it would be easier for me if you could write in the live stream chat. Oh yeah, I don't mean it in a strict way at all. Just telling you that it's easier. So is the sound better now? I'm gonna write it there also. Sound better now. I recalibrated the microphone just then, and I can set it even higher if you like. I just want to avoid overdoing it. Maybe like this. Also, thanks for pointing that out. It's always useful to have some feedback on the technical aspects of the live stream, because I don't notice them myself, because obviously it would be very distracting to me if I were to listen and watch the whole time while I'm doing it. So I don't notice that kind of thing. Wrote in the wrong channel. Ah, that's fine. Really not a problem at all. I just thought I'd mention it. Sound better. Great. Thank you, Em. Yeah, right. Epiphany says misgendering Sam is sad, but also exactly the sort of thing Ruth Gabler would do. Epiphany says you sound clear to me. That's great. But I don't think we're going to do this here, because that's the good thing about German introductions. A very small thing, but that's completely normal for good things about German customs. You probably wouldn't do that thing where you go, so what's your name again, Mr.? I think that's less common in German than it is in English. You don't usually do that. So what was your... I just think it would be among just, let's say, mainstream people in Germany, there's zero awareness of the existence of non-binary people or pronouns that you cannot see from the outside. There's zero awareness of that, and zero, what's the word I'm looking for? Helpfulness, regard. People don't take care of these kind of things, unfortunately. So I'm always torn, and I think I always mention it in each single live stream, between, of course, I don't want to reproduce patriarchal violence every time somebody says something, but then again, I don't want to portray a world in which that doesn't exist and thereby deny it, because I'm trying to portray, well, kind of the world like it is. You know what I mean, I think. Because I say it every time, sorry. I always have to consider the possibility that there are people who have not been here the last 20 times. Because this is already the 21st episode, and isn't that great? Wow. Yeah, so what was your name again? She asked. Clearly looking only at Sam, because they were the grown-up. So Munira obviously could not be important in this conversation. And while this happened to be true in this case, in this particular case, Munira still took it as let's call it an affront. And now I'm going to do, because, you know, I think it's important that words and actions align. Just talk is not enough. You have to walk the walk, and that's what I'm going to do to get some water. And here it is, just so you know, I'm a person of my word, a glass of water. I think you should be able to see it against the light, that it's actually not an empty glass. It's filled with water, if maybe not quite to the brim. It's enough to drink from. I'm going to demonstrate. There you go, believe me now. So I think I have established trust and confidence here. That's great. Good basis for what we're about to do now. Well, now that's the moment for a poll, I think. Because right now we are going to make a decision which might seem small at first glance, but might prove important later on. And it kind of establishes character, which is always, well, yeah. You have of course these little things that don't amount to much on their own, but for lack of a better phrasing, I'm just going to repeat it, establish character. And one of those right now is, does Sam notice? Will Sam comment on the fact that Woodgabler obviously doesn't care about Munira in this situation? Poe. Will Sam mention, notice, maybe just gonna say notice, Gabler's disregard for Munira in the introduction? Question mark. Now, the options. As always, the poll is multiple choice, but you always have the possibility, the chance, the opportunity to add other options. You can just write something in the chat and tell me, no, none of these appeal to me, I want you to do something different, and then, well, I will consider this depending upon the outcome of the vote, and maybe while I'm clarifying, while looking for the right emoji for the poll, I can also clarify this poll is not a binding one. I usually abide by the results, but I don't always do. For example, in case someone proposes a better option than I came up with and nobody votes for it, I might still choose that option. Just to make it clear from the beginning, your voice does not matter to me. Yes, but they will not mention it, by which I mean Sam might throw a glance at Munira and show her that they noticed it, but they will not correct Woodgabler in any way. Second option. Let's go with a mouth emoji for that. Also, it's more or less accidental whether I try to pick fitting emoji or not. Yes, and they will mention it, but only once, and not really correct her. The third option would be, no, that's maybe like this, yeah, there goes the fitting emoji. Not really correct her. Yes, and they will make her behave. I'll just leave it at that because this is not part of the story, so the exact wording is not as important to me as in the story. And also I will add right at the beginning the option of no. Some might just overlook this. So there you go. Poll is there, and now I will add the emoji for you to click on. Thumbs down, eyes, mouth, wave, and shrug as always, except whenever I forget. So, and as I mentioned, of course you have the opportunity, the chance, the possibility you can just type something completely different. Like maybe Sam will just leave the room in a huff and shout that this conversation obviously has no sense and no hope to go anywhere, so they will leave now or something like that. That doesn't sound like a very promising route for our story, but who knows? So far we have one vote for yes and they will mention it, and one vote for yes but they will not mention it. And maybe that's it. So I'll go with one of those, I guess. And I think since there's a draw, I guess you would call it, in the poll, which delivers, if you ask me, definite and conclusive proof that democracy doesn't and can never work. I will just pick something on my own, which to me is clear evidence that... God damn it, you just ruined my argument. Somebody just clicked on yes and they will mention it. Well, there you go. Maybe there is something to your democracy thing.
This was easy.
We'll see. Yeah, but they will not. They will only mention it once, and I think that that is acceptable. Or as we say in Germany, "Dit ist Berlin, wa?" And it actually is. It's Berlin. It's funny because it's true. Maybe it's not. Maybe you had to be there. Munira still took it as a front. Maybe like this. My name is Sam. Sam repeated. Maybe like this. And you probably... That's if you think that's too smooth and you just want Sam to do something disruptive but not helpful, like, and why didn't... and you obviously didn't ask my friend for her name. Sad. And then just go on with the conversation or something like that. But I think this is the better way. Sam is going to just, you probably want the name of my apprentice. Sam is of course going to say apprentice. As well, or just Munira. Grumbled? Can we say that? Is that a word? That's a word. It feels dubious to me. Well, sus, as you young people are wont to say. And I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that, so it doesn't become an unironic habit of me to say these kind of things. Those kind of things sneak up on you. You know, you just mumbled, yeah, why not? You know, you just go merrily along your way, and 1 minute to another, you're a boomer. Can happen to all of us. None of us are safe. But there are things you can do to protect yourself. We don't have time for that now, though. So, and this is one of those pesky eternal problems of writing about German conversations in English. Now, in Germany, you have those two different ways of addressing each other. There's not just first name and second name, but there's you and you. There's a familiar you, du, and there's the formal you, which is Sie. And that doesn't translate at all because there is nothing like that in the English language. But it's basically first name basis or not. You just have a different address also for people whom you are not on first name basis with. You wouldn't say, Mr. Barker, please. No, there would have to be a you in that sentence. Would you like some tea, Mr. Barker? You wouldn't say that. You would have to say, would Sie like some tea, Mr. Barker? Yeah, and there's no word for that. And that means that we have quite a fundamental problem because usually in Germany you have to clarify that before addressing someone. And as I said, it has gotten better. So there is a tendency to forego the formal stuff, which can be a bit weird because it has changed over the last years. I, for example, am working with some people whom I've known for 20 years, and we're still not on a first name basis, and we still use that formal form of address. And there are people whom I've met once last week, and we are on that informal terms because.
It also has to do with hierarchies.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It obviously also has to do with hierarchies, like for example, grown-ups call children the informal one almost always, and it's considered weird if you don't. If you use the formal address, especially with younger children, I think it starts somewhere around 16 that it becomes less weird. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the convention, I guess. And well, it is kind of impolite to address grown-ups with the informal setting. That there is a convention that makes that impolite, but it happens. For example, well, with all the forms of discrimination that you can think of, I guess. So what I'm going with for here, you might be able to imagine, is in German, if we were having this conversation in actual German and not just in translated German, Ruth Gabler would probably say something like, so are we gonna say you to each other or not? So something like that. They would have to talk about that. And that's impossible in English. And, well, I guess we can do a little markup somewhere, but I feel like just not going there. And also notice I misspelled apprentice. I feel like just ignoring the issue here. But maybe, if you are feeling creative, if you are a go-getter, if you have goals in life, if you want to go somewhere, then you might think of a solution. Do a little homework for next time and tell me how we're going to do that in the future, because I suspect it will happen again. But for now, I think we're just gonna, and also that's something that you might want to know, especially in case I haven't mentioned it in the stream, and you're not familiar with the German language. It is not completely uncommon for people to be on a first name basis, but still use the formal form of address. Like you can call someone Thomas and Sie instead of Mr. Thomas. And also that's completely weird. But my father had a car salesman who always called him Herr Elfeld and Du. So he used the second name, the family name, and the informal form of address, which is just weird, and nobody does that, but it happened. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, in schools. Yeah. I think in schools it's less unusual. But among grown-ups, it's not done. No. It's just something. Yeah, one person did once, and it's weird. We're not gonna try that. But yeah, the other thing happens, so we can even reasonably not discuss this, because in German it would be possible for Ruth Gabler, and I think that kind of fits her character, to talk to Sam in that formal version of address and still call them Sam. That's possible. Yeah. And we just have to make a decision, and I think that might be another poll time, what Sam is going to do. Because Sam now knows, Sam hasn't mentioned a second name in the whole story so far. And we can, that's the interesting thing, we can choose if that's for a reason, if it's just an accident, and if the reason is more pedestrian, like Sam just doesn't like second names or doesn't think they're relevant, or maybe it's even for an arcane reason, like second names have power or something like that, or at least for Magi or something. Maybe that could be something you could keep in the back of your head for later on. Wow, the lighting has gotten even worse. I'm just a dark blob now. But I think that's not completely inappropriate for you to think of me in that way. Or maybe let's go with I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Let's just go ahead and do a poll. Sorry. Let's go ahead and do a poll. Poll. Will Ruth Gabler offer the use of her first name? Because as I said, things have gotten more lenient in Germany, so it's not completely impossible for someone to go with that. And she might think something like, you know, you're Munira, you're Sam, okay, I'll be Ruth. We can't, no, just your choice. Your choice. There will be a democratic, I'm insisting, I believe in democracy, hashtag GG Ultras. And now, oh, sorry, here we go, yes. This seems completely improbable to me, says Gekrimbel. I respect that. Never ever, says Gekrimbel. Now don't let yourself be influenced by other participants. You all get all of your voices carry the same weight, no matter where you're from or whatever your other properties may be. We all get a say in this. No. And everybody will respect that. Oh, and we can also differentiate, and I think I'm going to do that. But how? I'm going to use the jellyfish for that. She doesn't say anything on the matter because she already has introduced herself, so she can just say nothing. She can just not say I'm Ruth or I'm Mrs. Gabler or I'm Ruth Gabler, you might remember, or something. She just doesn't say anything. And you will get a second vote on how Sam behaves, and Munira maybe too. And the no, in case you're wondering, I want to clarify that a bit. That means she will say something like, please call me Mrs. Gabler or something like that. Which would, I think, also be a bit weird. But you can do it, especially in a situation where everyone else has introduced themselves by first names. It's just a bit weird, not especially weird. Less weird than that second name and informal address thing.
The no thing is already there.
Why is that important to someone? I don't think anybody's going to need that anyway. And the second poll will be hashtag poll, and you can decide that independently. What or how will Sam? I'm gonna leave Munira out of it because I don't think she's gonna address Ruth Gabler directly. Sam. Now I think we might next time we have a poll, we might need some sort of security here to protect our voter base from undue influence. I think the result here is skewed. Address her, question mark. Oh, and also in Germany we don't have a distinction between Miss and Mrs. That doesn't but basically doesn't exist. I'm saying basically because there is an address that used to be used kind of like Miss is used in English, and it's Fräulein, but it's you don't do that unless you're like 85 and very unpleasant to be around.
Feminism.
Yeah, right.
Remove that.
Yeah. You have to be an old sexist white guy to do that. So you don't. So there is no Miss, no Mrs. in Germany, and I think the neutral form usually in English is just MS. You write MS, I think, from what I gather. But still, how will Sam address? What was I going to do? I was going to do that. Epiphany says sounds more gender equal than the Australian edition. I'm sorry to hear that. Let's go with doesn't matter. Okay, maybe like that. It doesn't matter. Ruth. And of course, you don't. I think that's basically the same in German and in English. You don't usually directly address someone all the time. You don't always say like, Fabian, would you like a glass of water? That's right, Fabian. I agree with you, Fabian.
There are
You
people
don't.
who do this in a
Yeah, and it's very
manipulative way.
annoying and it's unpleasant.
really-
Yeah. But you don't usually do that. So that's why I will offer an option of Sam just avoiding that. Ms. Gabler. And Grimmel says, I think in the single fact, feminism won a little battle, yes. Yeah, right. There are some web forms that still have it, but they are very rare. They're the kind of web forms that also include countess and duchess and stuff like that. But I've seen it. The Fräulein thing, I mean. Miss is also an option, but Munira is just old enough to qualify as Miss, Epiphany says. Yeah, but for now, I think we're talking about Ruth Gabler, who's comfortably old enough to probably be usually addressed as Mrs. in English. Especially because of her role in hierarchy, but let's leave that open. I'm just gonna go MS. If you don't contradict me about that. Sam will avoid directly addressing her and thus leave it open. Epiphany says, sorry, I'm very tired. No trouble. We all are. So there's Ruth, there's Miss Gabler or MS Gabler, however you pronounce that if you do, and then there's that, and then there's the shrug, of course. So there you go. So we already have that thing. She will not offer the use of her first name, and then let's just have her say it. You may call me Miss Gabler, if you don't mind, and that's already too polite. Let's go with that. She said, and Munira suppressed a weary sigh. So we have a majority for avoiding it. Okay, that's fine. I think we can do that. What is your proposition? And this is kind of an important moment, I think, so we should interrupt the flow of our writing once again and think about this. I don't think this offers itself very well for a poll, but if you have any ideas, feel free to let me know, because I think Sam should say something worthy of remembering, or something with a bit of pizzazz, you know. And that's difficult. Because if it weren't, I'd do it all the time. But I'm just too tired. You know, I'm thinking of something that will go down in history. Like, my plan is simple: I want to kill the Batman, which isn't actually that great a sentence, but it kind of worked in the situation, I guess. Don't know, but you're a blob again, though an attractive blob nevertheless. Why? Thank you. I like that. Can I use that? Can I use that on my next novel?
Yeah.
Attractive blob.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds nice, doesn't it? Yeah, what I'm thinking of. Yeah, right. Now we can't use that directly, Sam. It wouldn't make any sense at all for Sam to say "kill the Batman." So let's leave that completely out of this discussion. And he might show her a magic trick, but we're not doing the same thing as the Joker. Don't worry. This is gonna stay PG-13, I think. Because that's exactly Munira's age. So we have to.
Yeah.
We have a moral... Won't somebody think of the children? Yeah. What we need is a good answer. What is your proposition? We can just go with something grand but irrelevant. Like... well, basically... I don't think it lends itself very well to be a permanent catchphrase, but just to mention it, Sam might say again, we want to bring more magical realism, but I don't think... We've used that, and it's not something you want to use again and again, because I feel like it's one of those sentences that don't get better if you use them again. We can, of course, to build a better world, and haven't yet made up our mind how much bottom up we're going to include. Now this is completely vague and obfuscating, but at least it doesn't have pizzazz, which is what I said, but it's at least weird in a slightly memorable way, which was the best I could come up with right now. Are we trying to think of something better, or are we going to make a comment and fix it in post? I think I tend towards the latter one, because we only have 10 minutes left, and I would like to have some more progress to show you. This is not good enough, is what I'm going to write in the comments. So just, we're all clear. I don't think this is acceptable. I just think this can be a placeholder for what Sam is actually going to say. And I think it will be great. You know, we're going to replace this with something that, like, I don't know, what is the most famous phrase in the world right now? What would you say is the most famous phrase in the world? Probably some sort of advertising jingle, but maybe not. Can somebody think of the most famous phrase in the world? Like, on the level with... Yeah, right. On one level with I Have a Dream. Or maybe here. Come to think of it, all the big, successful, huge companies have quite unmemorable slogans, don't they? Like McDonald's, for example, loving it. That's not a good slogan. Or is it I'm loving it? Doesn't matter. It's not a good slogan. Burger King, have it your way. Better, but not good. Coke, do they even have a slogan? Drink Coca-Cola is their slogan, right? Well, that's bad. That's not good. Is there a good slogan? Why doesn't anybody have a good slogan? Oh, I liked, you know, always Coca-Cola. Yeah, that's not bad. but it's not good
It's not
either.
good.
It's not creative, and it's not something you would think, oh, that's why they're so successful. It's just, well, okay. It works if you're already huge, I guess. What I always loved, but that's not useful right now, is that, that there's that, and of course they're probably dead by now, but there used to be a software you needed for burning CDs when people still did that, and it was called Nero.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah,
that was quite
burning.
funny. Yeah, right, because it was burning ROM, and that was very funny, and I still think of that, but it's not famous at all, and it doesn't work here. Because why would they burn Rome? I mean, I can think of several reasons, but it doesn't really make sense in this situation right now. Is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, kind of that's what we're going for. Like maybe here or no idea why, but people always quote that Lincoln shit like 70 years ago, and they always quote that part of the speech. That's not good. That's just the beginning of a speech. I'm not even holding that against Lincoln. I'm just holding that against people who quote him. Maybe because it's the beginning. I think in the United States everybody has to learn that speech, and since those are the first words, everybody remembers those, and after that it gets kind of hazy. Maybe that. But yeah, I think we're gonna do something on that level, just not right now, but later on somewhere. We're gonna get there. This is a learning experience for all of us. And you decided to start with my nursing facility home. I think she's gonna call it nursing home. I think she's gonna do it.
With my facility.
We can have her say my facility. That's fine too. Jesus. Facility. Yes. Actually, I've started somewhere else. Sam responded with a quick glance towards Munira. Jesus, she was grateful it was over before she could react, because she wouldn't have known how. This is one of these situations, so I'm gonna comment on it. This sentence makes sense to me, and thus I suspect it makes sense to our hypothetical readers as well, but I'm not sure. Because what I'm thinking is, Sam kind of saved her, so she might feel a certain pressure to be grateful, but first off, she doesn't want to be grateful for several reasons, and second off, which might be the same thing as first, but I'm counting it as a second thing, she doesn't want to be in that situation towards Sam. Like she doesn't want to acknowledge, yes, I'm in your debt or something like that. And I don't want to spell all that out, but I also want to add that sentence because I think it kind of adds nuance, maybe. Not sure if it's good nuance, but it does add something. And we can't do that all the time, like with several other things when I say that. But I think sometimes adding these little things makes the world and the people more alive. That's how I feel about it. And it's always a balancing act because, as I said, I don't spell out the background for this sentence. So to someone who doesn't even think of that possibility, who doesn't consider, or I'm not finding the right words in English right now, somebody whose mind doesn't go there. Maybe that's the neutral formula wording. Someone who just doesn't think of that in that moment. They will sit before that sentence and think, why was she grateful? What's going on here? So it's a confusing sentence, potentially. But spelling it all out is not an option, I think. And leaving the sentence out doesn't feel right either, because I think it's good. Not great, but it's good. So I'll leave it in and I'll make a comment. Or, hey, why not? I'll just type comment. But I will, let's finish with a poll. Let's finish with a poll in the spirit of democracy. And I'll ask you, dear participants, #poll. Do we leave that vague sentence, that vague sentence in there? Oop. Yes. Oh, I'm just gonna go with the emoji. I don't think you need me to explain that thumbs up means yes and thumbs down means no, do you? Yes or no or shrug. And you know what? Well, no, I'm gonna make that joke later because it's such a good joke. I have to save it. You'll laugh and laugh, and I will. Oh, how I will laugh! You can't even imagine. I will. So at least some people are in favor of leaving the sentence. Thank you. So with that, you know, all that progress I promised. That's kind of like I feel a bit like Biden here, or the Democrats every time they get elected. You know, yeah, because remember when I promised progress after that first sentence I marked? Yeah, that's the progress. But still, I mean, this is a collaborative experience, and those always take a bit more time. But hopefully we profit from the different perspectives that come in here. And in that spirit, let me thank you for participating in today's live stream. It was great fun for me. I hope it was fun for you. If it was, consider pushing all those buttons, you know. Share this live stream with everyone you think might like it. Press the thumbs up button. Press the subscription button. Press the bell button. Press the like buttons on all the social media websites where you know me. And just push all the buttons. And for what it's worth, I somehow, and I don't know where that comes from, feel like having a nice ice-cold Coca-Cola right now. I think that might be refreshing. Goodbye. Enjoy your Coca-Cola. Always the real thing.